Hello. Welcome to the Goods. I know that you have been looking at us wearing our Fly Goods podcast gear and wondering where can we get those. Well, guess what? We have the answers for you. We have it here, Teespring. Go to Teespring and you will find all of this glorious merchandising, from t-shirts to mugs to, well, there's other toys, but we can't talk about that now. Go to Teespring. Enjoy our memorabilia.
And we're back! All flash.
Not substance.
It's so weird to say it that way.
I know.
But go ahead. No, we're gonna keep going. We're keep going.
Okay.
That's how we do things on this show. All right.
Same.
All right. So we're back again. We're back doing a top 5. This time without Manny, without Art, with Carla. Carla's doing like all the shows now. So if you guys see them, who knows when they're gonna show back up again? But make sure you put in the comments below to ask where they have been. But today today's top 5 is going to be the top 5 films with the main character with little to no dialogue. I don't know how I'm gonna fit that in the thumbnail, but that's our top 5.
Minimum dialogue.
Yeah, we recently saw a couple of films that had come out. The Quiet Place. We just recently watched Drive, and we started to think about that there are a lot of films where the protagonist of the film, or the lead in the film, doesn't really say much.
Yeah.
So we wanted to take a time, put together a list of all those films that are going to totally bore you.
But no, that is you know what, like that is the expectation. You're gonna say like, okay, like what's going on, but I think that the effort into like
making an interesting story without having them say a lot of dialogue,
I think that takes more effort into like the actor to portray that character. So I think that it's actually at some point even more to be more recognized, the fact that you're able to sell a story and you're not necessarily talking a lot.
Okay, so more on the actor's acting capability by being able to sell the scene with looks and gestures, less on the writer of the film for doing the work.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah. Okay.
Carla, go first.
Okay, so I saw that there's a lot of like movies that may go into this genre. Some of them, like I haven't seen them. I'm curious to hear yours. That's why.
A great list.
But probably. But I mean, we'll see. So for my number 5.
Number 5.
This is, please, no haters. Like I already can feel it. Like I feel it in that it's coming. But
That's
okay.
what the comment section.
Okay. Number 5, Wally.
Okay.
That is a perfect example.
I mean,
like there's barely like minimum like dialogue in that movie. You get in love with the story of this small robot like cleaning everything. Why are you making that face?
I mean, some would argue that he does speak. You just don't understand what he's saying.
It's not this like at the beginning of the first, I don't know, like 45 minutes. He barely like says anything.
He barely beeps and boops.
He's just practically taking care of like making sure that the roach won't die, which that constantly like freaks me out. And I know that my theory is right. Then something would happen to the earth. The only thing living will be roaches.
Of course.
So ew.
Yep.
But yeah, I think that is a really awesome movie.
It's a great film.
Like, yeah, there's some dialogue in between. It's not all about like it's not a silent movie. But the fact that you are entertained with whatever this mini robot is doing, like I think that it gets you gets your attention to it.
I give you that. Look, Wally is a great film, and I love a lot of children's films, especially like Pixar and Disney and stuff like that. I love those films, and yes, the movie does. The character itself, you do fall in love with the character, and basically says nothing but Wally.
That's it. So he's not doing. Yeah. Okay.
Dang it! You know what I just thought of? We'll get into honorable mentions. What I should have put on this list. Number 4.
Okay, number 4. This is from here on. It's going to be difficult because I can feel them all together. So it was difficult to put a score or like So okay, we'll see. I Am Legend.
Okay.
So
he says little to nothing in this film, right?
He basically talks to Sam, the dog, and you can hear like or see some flashbacks or whatever happens, but mainly it's his life by himself, talking to his dog.
I mean, he's talking, so there's dialogue.
Well, but every once in a while, it's not something that happens constantly. Oh my God! See, people, please. I hope that you
put in the comments. Tear up about the fact that he actually does talk to the dog. There's dialogue there.
There's minimal dialogue. I mean, until he meets the late.
It's just until she cooks his eggs, and then he just loses it. Just like my eggs.
Yes, I know. See. I mean, don't play with a man's food. That is one of the takeaways of that particular.
Yeah, that's
movie.
what I got out of that movie. Don't play with food.
There's not a lot of like necessarily dialogue. Stop it.
There's a lot of quiet. I'll give you. There's a lot of quiet moments
Yes.
in there, kind of like introspective things. Him thinking about like where he goes in the future, or him kind of handling things. But he literally had a conversation in the store about the cute mannequin over in the corner. I mean, if we want to say somebody didn't talk in the movie, the mannequin didn't talk.
Well, but
the dog didn't talk.
But it's like him. Okay, you're losing the purpose of this top 5.
I think we should move on to the next one.
It's-
Number 3.
Okay, this is a really like obvious one that it should be on the list. It's A Quiet Place, of course.
Quiet Place, of course. Quiet Place 1 or 2?
To me, 1.
Okay.
I always like original ones. But I mean, either way, the fact that again, it's about they're going into more suspense, like keeping keeping yourself like sitting in the chair, like all like thinking about what's about to happen, and the fact that whenever you hear something, it's because something bad is going to happen. So I think that what keeps you like really like anxious
And
throughout the whole thing.
I absolutely agree with that. I think in A Quiet Place 2, they're selling that movie with a lot of flashbacks to kind of show you the setup of how they got there.
Yeah.
So there's a lot more dialogue for the characters that you don't get all that dialogue from in the original movie. You're literally watching a movie the first time sitting there like, I gotta be quiet for them, right?
I know.
But no,
that was literally like the experience that it happened. So I think that it will capture. See, it was not only me. Thank you. Okay, so number 2.
Number 2.
Okay, so and this is something that I was like he said, I recently watched, and it has been now I can call it one of my top movies. It's Drive.
Right.
That is an amazing movie.
I'm surprised you like that movie as much as you did.
I was not like, I didn't have a lot of expectations. Probably that's because what happens. Like, I think that it surprised me a lot because you didn't say, like, whenever we watch a movie, he doesn't say, he doesn't give me too much, like, backstory. He just say, like, hey, we're gonna watch this. Yes.
Just watch the movie. Just go on with a blank slate.
Exactly. And I'm like, okay, but what is it? Just watch the movie. So every time that we watch or at least I'm watching something new, that is my backstory. Just watch the movie. So for me, I was like, okay, I know that I'm not supposed to ask whatever, but the fact that this guy is such a sociopath, that he's so crazy, and what he does during the entire movie in a really charming way, because he's Ryan Gosling, it's just smiles.
That's what sells this movie.
Just smiles the entire movie. That's all he does. And he has like, all of a sudden when you see him hit the girl at the motel, I'm like, what the fuck is happening here? What happened with this dude? Like, it's such a shocking thing because you were not, I mean, since the beginning, I knew that something was going to happen. Like, you saw it coming. But this opposite, like, situation that he's such a maniac, like, oh my God.
Look, if he had been regular looking, like, 5 guy, right? Like, out of the skeleton, if he had been a 5 and he'd have been the same character, it would not have been as cute. It's because it's Ryan Gosling that it even works. And that shows you how the world sees hotness. We're like, I'll put up with the sociopath because he's so hot. Exactly.
Number 1. And this is probably the movie that everybody may think about whenever you see barely minimum dialogue. Castaway.
Okay, Castaway.
That is to me, like, whenever
he did talk to Wilson.
What again? It's minimum, and he's talking to himself. He's not talking to anybody else. And there's a lot of, and he doesn't talk until he finds him.
Okay.
He doesn't find him at the very beginning of the movie.
I feel like he had a lot of connection with Wilson.
Yes.
And there was a lot. Like he.
Okay, but do you know? Going back to my comment at the beginning, do you know how difficult it is? Only Tom Hanks will be able to do that. To build a connection with a volleyball that you will actually cry when he gets lost in the sea. Like, I remember like giving like some tears away when I saw him like leaving. I'm like, why? So only him will be able to pull up something like that.
Yes, I agree. I have no faults. I mean, the I Am Legend one, but I have no faults.
There's always one.
I have no faults with the rest of your list. It was 4 good films on there that met the criteria. I feel like he had a lot of conversations with all of the inanimate objects in that film, but it's okay. All right. So.
But that's my list. So give me yours. So I can criticize it.
Yes,
as much.
you can criticize my list. I don't think you've seen most of these movies, but
okay.
All right. So we're gonna start with my number 5.
Number 5.
Number 5. My number 5 is actually Silent House. And I knew you hadn't seen that one. So this one actually stars Elizabeth Olsen. So this is a movie where it has a huge chunk of young Scarlet Witch here. Okay. I mean, she hadn't even put on the long coat yet. She hadn't met Vision. None of that stuff's happened. She's not an Avenger. Pietro's not even there.
She's in, what is this? Where is she from?
Sokovia.
Sokovia.
Yeah, she's none of that. She's in this little rural town and stuff like that. So basically, she's in this house, and the house gets broken into, and she has to hide to get away from the people that are after her in the house and in the house. But everything, as they're searching for her, they don't have any dialogue. She doesn't have any dialogue, and it's just a lot of shots of her face. It's a lot of one shots of her moving from room to room, and it's just quiet. And like we were talking about before with the Quiet Place, where you feel their tension and you want to be quiet for them. You want to be quiet for her as she sits there and she tries not to get caught. So like at the very beginning, there is some dialogue, but then when you get to where they're actually in the house, it's total silence. You just kind of move with her, and I really like that film. I feel like that film doesn't get as much justice as for what it is, as a thriller, as a film that shows that one shots, and just like selling with just your facial expressions, right?
Okay. I'm curious how you haven't suggested that movie.
Well, maybe that'll be the next one I suggest.
Okay.
All right, so number 4.
Number 4.
What did I put as number 4? This is a great question. I don't read my handwriting here.
Oh my God.
I went with. This is crazy.
We are doing this.
I know, right?
See?
So 1.
This.
Where's my? Okay, that's 2. That's 3. Oh, Quiet Place is number 4. I wrote that as number 4.
Really?
I did. Quiet Place is number 4.
Now you're so curious, about what you wrote yourself. Okay.
All right. So A Quiet Place is a great film. We kind of talked about it when you brought it on your list. Is that it walks us through what it's like to have to go through day-to-day life and basically like The Walking Dead without having a form of communication. I mean, they do the sign language and stuff like that, but they have to really get across how they feel with a lot of looks and glances and all the things they have to make sure don't cause any sound. Yeah. So it's a great film. It's a great sci-fi film. I really wish they would have kept it in the what was the name of the movie with the big alien that attacked the city? No, I mean not that big alien. The one where it Cloverfield. There you go. Took it. So I really wish they'd have kept it in the Cloverfield one before they changed it to have its own separate thing. Cloverfield Paradox on Netflix screwed that up. But it's a great film. Everything that you already said, the same thing. I agree with that. So that's gonna bring me to number 3. All right. So number 3, I went with The Revenant.
Oh crap! When we were talking about this, I'm like, I know that this is a movie that people will if you don't say it, somebody else will.
Yeah,
say
so
it.
They were gonna write it in the comments, so I had to say it.
I haven't seen it.
It is. It's so moody, and it's you're in the period and how hard the struggle is, and they don't really say much. And then once Leonardo DiCaprio gets hurt, it's silence from there. There's everything's in his eyes because he's paralyzed, can't really move because that stupid bear, which tortures me to this day.
I heard that.
God, it's I am so afraid of bears now after watching that movie. Relation to the bear mauled him. There was no relationship. Yeah, bear. It seemed like rape. That bear just mauled him, and I was I am so afraid of bears after watching that movie. But from his injuries, and he couldn't move, so everything had to be shown in his eyes, all of his emotion, which is a really great actor.
There you go. Again, it's really difficult to. Whenever you feel what the actor is feeling without
the tears when he was accepting death, when he was I'm a burden on you guys, he didn't say that, but in the look you were I get it.
Okay.
And he's a burden. He was it's just take me out, right? And man, you just feel it. You
Okay.
see it in the eyes. All right, so that's gonna
Another
bring me to
one.
my number
Okay.
2.
Number 2.
All right, so my number 2, I feel like this is iffy, right? But you know, you put I Am Legend on your list, and
Oh my god! Oh, give it to me. Please give it to me.
I went Gravity with Sandra Bullock.
Well,
She has a conversation at the beginning with George Clooney.
Yeah,
Yes, I admit that.
yeah.
And then he dies. He's off into space, and it's just her.
and that's just her.
And it's just
but-
her.
But okay.
And she has to deal with everything.
Yes.
So all the dialogue you get from her is gonna. Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god! That's all you get. So I'm saying little to no dialogue with that,
But,
right?
hey,
Mm.
but it's the same thing.
And she did.
But it's kind of like the same thing with I Am Legend.
I mean, he had a
Whatever.
conversation with a man.
But still, whatever. Okay.
She was just panting.
Okay.
But it's a great film. She
Yeah, it's a
basically
great- okay.
whole film was just her with the camera on her face.
Yes.
And a few special effects. Well, I mean,
Uh-huh.
space is a special effect, but the special
But
effects behind it.
and
But she had
whatever happened.
everything was her and her emotions and how she felt.
No, not a lot of
Nothing.
things.
Nothing. No, I mean, I was great about that movie.
Okay.
But anyways.
Okay.
Number 1.
Like number 1.
All right, so
I'm
number.
so curious.
All right, and I know you haven't seen this one either, but I really love this movie because I feel like there is probably about, and I feel like I wrote it down. Did I write it down? I wrote notes for all the other ones, and I forgot to tell you the notes, the one that I wrote on it. But for Under the Skin, I didn't write any notes for it. There's probably maybe 3 lines of dialogue in this whole film.
Which is the film?
It's a film with
What is the name
Black
of it?
Widow, Under the Skin. I'm sorry, I
okay.
didn't say that.
You
Under the
didn't
Skin.
say it.
Under the
You were
Skin
so caught up
with Scarlett Johansson. So
Okay.
so I got the Scarlet Witch and I got Black Widow on my list here.
Okay.
All right, so Leo hasn't been anything yet. Okay, cool. So
Marvel
the
geek.
and maybe the Fantastic Invisible Woman and Mr. Fantastic in A Quiet Place, maybe possibly.
Okay.
But anyway, so
Oh, yeah,
Under the
okay.
Skin with Scarlett Johansson. This film basically is about aliens that come to the planet. And they take the skin of like 2 humans, and they're using it as guises to kind of lure people to them, so that
okay.
they don't say exactly what they do with them, but they capture them, and you feel like they're either using them for food or some type of resource, and it's her being like seductive and sexy in luring these guys in without a single word. She like goes to these clubs
I feel
and then
like
she
I have
brings them
seen
back
this
to this house.
before.
I feel like you haven't. And she brings him back to this house, and so she says nothing to him the whole time. And then she starts to get guilty about it because she looks at us like she feels like she you could tell she feels like she's taking advantage of us. And then she runs off. It's a really great film, and you can see her naked, by the way. So it's a really great film.
Well, she has a great body though. So okay. Yeah.
So okay. It's all done by like motions and her. It's almost kind of awkward in a sense, even from when she's picking out, because you're kind of like with her at first because she gets the jerk guys, and then she starts to just pick any guy. So like the nerdy guy, the guy who's like, oh my god, you're the best thing, the handicapped guy. And you're like, oh, I'm starting to feel, I'm feeling bad for these people, but everything's done. So she's like a predator at the very beginning, and then she kind of focused. Watch the movie.
Yes.
It's kind of hard to explain, but it's a really great
I feel that
film.
you had like some difficulties explaining it.
But
you sold it. You sold it.
It's a great film. Watch
You
the film.
sold it,
I think
so-
she was up for an award for it. I don't think she won, but it was up for an award.
Okay. But you sold it to me.
Honorable
Give me-
mentions.
Yes, give me yours because I know that you have more. I have a couple.
All right, so I would put Drive on my honorable mentions. Don't Breathe. I felt like there was a little bit too much talking in Don't Breathe.
Wait. That is a lot of talking in that movie.
That's why it's an honorable mention.
There's a lot. It shouldn't be. Don't ever give me crap for mine because there's a lot of like talking. The blind guy talks all the time.
The Good, Bad, and the Ugly. The Man with No Name barely talked in that movie.
Oh yeah.
The Man with No Words is what that should have been called.
Mm-hmm.
Castaway and Wally. Oh, I also put 2001: A Space Odyssey. Did you know
I heard that
2001:
one.
Space Odyssey? It's like 88 minutes with no dialogue.
Yeah.
88 minutes with no dialogue.
I read that. Okay.
That's crazy.
Okay. But that means that it's a boring movie?
It's boring.
okay.
It's absolutely boring.
There you go.
There's like 20 minutes at the beginning at the dawn of man, and I'm like, where are they going with this? Where are they going with this? They're just showing like monkeys and
Nothing?
cavemen and stuff like that, and you're like, oh.
Okay.
God, fast forward the first 20 minutes.
Okay.
You don't need to see that.
I have a couple of two that I'm surprised that you didn't mention. Well, probably you haven't seen. Well, you have seen one. I have 127 hours.
I have not seen that because I didn't want to watch him cut his arm off.
Well, it's really good.
Okay.
I mean,
that's what I hear. I just didn't want to watch him cut his arm off.
The movie's really good. It's just like you feel again. You can feel the emotion while he's doing it. Like you are like that is his only way to survive. He has to do it like.
And it's also James Franco. And every time I see James Franco on the scene, I can't take him like in a serious role.
Like seriously,
I'm
well,
like,
in that
I'm
one
for
you
a joke.
believe it. You can believe it. Like I got it. Like I'm like yeah, I buy this. I buy this feeling. And the other one that we recently watched is #Alive. That it's like a Netflix show for the zombies. They barely talk.
Oh yeah, that's right. He barely says anything. It's all him looking like text and like on the news and stuff like that.
Like,
yeah, that's a good pick. Yeah, it's a really good pick.
Trying to get
what can I have taken out?
There you go.
Nothing. Anyways.
But see, that one's a good one. Watch it. It's like a really like you call it like a popcorn movie to watch at home. I mean that.
Yeah, it was a really good zombie film. That you know what?
Yeah.
Hell, I want to say Train to Busan. Oh, and they talked a lot of Train to Busan. Never mind. Forget I put that one.
Okay,
in.
Done.
All right, so Carla. Again, because you like doing this. Take us home.
I don't like it, but okay. So please make sure that you subscribe in the thing that you're going to see here. And make sure that you watch all the other videos that we have. These guys talk about a lot of movies and a lot of like series and a lot of like shit too. So it's really entertaining like most of the time. So like make sure that you watch this. For our merchandise, we have these full t-shirts that apparently I'm the only one who wears them.
No, I mean you're you're the pretty one. You sell the shirts.
So okay.
They don't buy them when I wear them. So
okay, so I'm the only one, but I mean these are not included. But okay. And then you can go to our Patreon. There's a lot of like funny videos there and a lot of like the things that happen backstage also. And I think that's it.
That's it. All right. So for Manny, and we found Aspen.
Yay!
She is actually here off camera though. Maybe she'll be in another video. But we found Aspen. So search is over, guys. Yeah. Take her off the milk cartons. We have now found Aspen.
Yeah.
Glad to have her back home.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm Terrence.
And I'm Carla.
You guys take care.
Real quick, if you're still here, because we do these into the video little blooper things. If you're still here, look down. There's a link here for Patreon. If you guys like the show, please give us money. We'll take a penny. We'll take a nickel. We'll take a dime. We'll take $1. We have some stuff on there that we're giving away on Patreon if you do contribute, because trust me, we need help. We want to buy new equipment, and we need an editor. Somebody who doesn't have to stay up in the middle of the night. Or they'll have to stay up in the middle, but I won't have to do it. So please, down patreon.com/thegoods. It's in the link. Please do it. We appreciate it.